Tessa and I had a huge discussion after the Beauty and the Beast showing about alto representation in Disney movies.
Alto representation. You know what? It's not fair, Kyle. Like, they have not had that representation.
I know, that was my argument.
Before that,
yeah.
Tessa was against it.
But no, the soprano, the racist soprano, no, not the bassist soprano.
Well, everyone knows that altos are the inferior race. They're significantly inferior to everyone else.
Travis's views on musicals do not reflect the UGO. Anyway, welcome to the UGO podcast. Go Unapologists. Go Unapologists.
I thought you were gonna go Gadget.
I don't know. A lot of weird how many battle cries begin with go. You think one go would be enough.
Nope.
But apparently some people just don't listen.
Go Gadget Copter.
Go more effective niece. But today we're going to be talking about the former goers, the Power Rangers. He who goes first. Actually, Inspector Gadget would have been way earlier.
Yeah.
If we go by chronologically. The first one that we were talking about. Anyway, who's mixing up what we're actually talking about today? Well, it's me, Nick, the Merc with a mic, and my fellow Unapologists,
Travis.
And Kyle.
And yes, we are going to be talking about the Power Rangers movie in honor of the Power Rangers movie that none of us watched. But I've been hearing mixed things on it. Like, I know we basically shit talked it for every trailer we've seen on it.
Well, there's still that color palette. No matter what the movie is like, that color palette is still a thing.
I heard it is surprisingly good until it gets to the Power Ranger parts.
I figured, because they got to hit those awful suits eventually. But yeah, well, if we're not talking about the movie, what are we talking about today? Well, we're gonna go OG. We're gonna talk about the original series. We're gonna talk some Mighty Morphin era Power Rangers. Some of the things that were kicking around when we were young. Because I don't know if you realized that Power Rangers was fucking weird.
A little, yeah.
Like, it is, like, I knew it was weird in my mind. Like, I was watching it as a kid.
This movie, folks, the movie actually has Goldar in it.
Yeah,
like a giant gold monster.
What was he like? He was
giant gold monster.
He was a monkey bat that was gold.
Yeah, I don't know.
But we're gonna talk about shit that's even weirder, because I was looking up some shit, and it's even weirder than you remember. Like, there's some messed up stuff, but especially the villain monsters. Like, they fought some weird shit. But before that, we got the gauntlet of trailers again this week. Because it's our late recording week, so we got some trailers to talk about. So a lot of superheroes again. Shocking, I know. It's like It's like they never leave the theater. Goddamn. But even before that, we got the news, the geeky news we got to talk about today. We got to talk about some other companies that aren't quite going. Say GameStop. I don't think it's going very much.
It's going somewhere.
It's going straight to hell. But yeah, and we got some other news to talk about. We got some unsettling Spiderman news. Some stuff that's not quite good, but we'll get to it. Yeah, I know. It's not great. I hear things.
What, that's owned by Sony?
That it's about to be exclusively owned by Sony again. But we'll be talking about it. It's not for we're going to talk about it. It's rumors so far. But before that, we gotta talk about the announcements that we always like to do. I was gonna bring on one of the original monster voices to talk about Power Rangers, but then I realized they all have the same goddamn voice. Like, they're all this high, squeaky, like, Power Rangers, and I'm not up for it today. So
your regular announcements, huh?
So I think it was just to be regular announcements for today. We'll give the guests a break. So as always, want to mention Tanner Hackle Designs designed our logo, the UGO of our logo. Isabella the Derby Dragon, on the other hand, was designed for us by the lovely Kelly Main. And, she did some great artwork for us. So if you need some artwork done or some design work, you can either give Tanner or her a call, and they will do some great work for you. And with that, we also want to promote the Let's Play channel, our Let's Play channel, over on the YouTubes. Because we just, we got our new YouTube channel set up. It looks pretty spiffy and new, and we got a bunch of new videos up. We got some Mass Effect Andromeda out.
If you're not one of those people that automatically hates that game.
Mm-hmm. And we even got our latest episode of Tomb Raider, which Kyle worked really hard on.
It takes me like 5 times longer to do a Tomb Raider episode these days because of the lost audio.
Yes. So we're still stuck in that one, but he should be working his way out of it, and we'll get back to the regular one. But
got a few more episodes.
He did some great work on the last one,
Yes.
because I watched it and I was just like, man, that is hilarious. Just our fail counter and some of the sound effects he added in.
Was that right, Kyle? Did you know when you saw the rock scene? What I was talking about?
Yeah, I know what you were talking about.
Wham. But yeah, so that's definitely worth your time if you want to go about that. And thank you, Kyle, for working on that as hard as you've been doing some great work on there. Mm-hmm. So I just always want to make sure I compliment him every once in a while on the podcast. So
Feed him compliments.
So it's on record. That way, when he comes at me later, like, you never say anything nice about me. Well, here's the 3 things I said nice about you this year. Here they all. They're all our 3 right here. And,
one more year and you get a 4th one.
Yeah.
It's like vacation days.
Right? No, it's more like one of those crappy Starbucks cards or whatever. For everyone you punch through, it's like, oh, Nick, you can get a free Nick compliment.
They're almost as worthless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't do redeem vouchers or anything like that either. No, it's
how about sexual favors?
No, well, that's a different program. You gotta buy the silver package for that. Yeah.
I hope it's not silver. That'd be weird.
But it's more like the leather package. But apparently that didn't track well with customer service. This joke is going too far.
A little bit.
Like we're way too far into this joke. I'm gonna try and transition out of this
Exit,
weird
stage left.
Exit, stage right. Oh. But why don't we go into the news? Speaking of
No segue there.
Speaking of odd sexual things, we got some Marvel fisting to talk about.
No.
Because
That's way less fun.
Iron Fist we got to talk about here. How'd you like that? How'd you like that segue?
That was not.
That's some professional work right there. That's off the cuff. Can you believe it? That I just came up with it.
I actually can.
But yeah, we got to talk about Iron Fist for a little bit because I don't know about this because Netflix numbers, they've always been weird. They never release their full numbers, but a couple other programs do aggregates and they get stats off of Netflix views, and I don't know how accurate they are, but they've been using it. And this one comes from Parrot Analyticals. So they track viewership data since the streaming service does not release it. So they calculate ratings and by a variety of data for actual streaming and social media chatter, and so they use a bunch of different data entries to try and track Netflix and how well those shows are actually doing. Mm-hmm. So it's not as accurate as if Netflix would actually release their numbers, but it reportedly is a pretty accurate description. So and from their analysis, it says Iron Fist is Marvel's 2nd biggest Netflix hit behind Luke Cage. Yeah, really. That's what it's saying right here. Like, don't give me that look. I didn't write it.
My face is actually currently stuck like this. I can't get it to
He can't get it off.
No, it's there.
Like, we'll see 2 days from now, Travis is just doing customer service. Like, I'm sorry, sir, have I done something to offend you?
Nope, still kind of pissed at these numbers.
So, and then apparently if you check on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got like an over 80% score right now on Rotten Tomatoes. Apparently there was a big campaign from people that said the critics were too hard on it, and it was an influx of positive reviews to try and cancel out the critical rating, I guess. But again, that's all also rumor stuff too, and it could just be that the critics were so hard on it that the people's expectations were lowered, so when you actually watch it, you'll, this isn't that bad, and then they give it a positive rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know how, because this shit is a hot steaming mess, okay? I'm the first one to go like, oh, my expectations were so low, like this wasn't as bad. I do that all the time. This was just straight up awful, guys, and if we don't recognize it, we need to hold Marvel to a little more task than this. because I don't want this to happen again.
Well, this is so weird because everyone was so gung-ho about waiting for the first bad Marvel thing, and it seems like, according to you at least, I haven't watched it because I've heard so many things about it, I just didn't feel like watching it, that this is it.
This is it, man. This is it. This is the first legitimately awful thing. Like, this isn't Iron Man 2 where it was like, this seems weird. It feels like a commercial for the Avengers, but overall it's fun. This isn't a Thor the Dark World where I'm like, well, the design of this is cool. Loki exited the movie a little too early, but I don't know, the portal thing is cool. No, this is dead on arrival, guys. This is just straight up awful. And I have finished it. The ending, it did not get any better. It leaves it over for a sequel bag of like, oh, next time on Iron Fist. I'm like, I don't give a shit because I'm not watching next time on Iron Fist. He finally does something cool with the Iron Fist where he does like the shockwave thing. He punches the ground. Like, that's the big move. Like, it's like, oh, that's how we end. Like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that was cool. Why were we doing that shit like the rest of the episodes? Because that was interesting looking rather than his fighting, because it turns out Finn Jones had so little prep time during the fights. Like, he had like 12, I think he had I forget what, I had the article up here, but he had 6 weeks something of really intense martial arts training, but then the shooting picked up and he did not have time to continue the training during shooting. And sometimes he was learning the choreography for a scene 15 minutes before the scene.
Wow, that's a terrible idea.
And that's what directly led to the shitty action on Iron Fist, because it's bad, man. There's a thing going on around online, and I can verify this. It's not a joke. There's a 34-second sequence of a fight, and it cuts 53 times.
What?
The fighting is cut to shit because they're trying to hide the fact that Finn Jones can't fight. Mm-hmm. And that's what really takes the impact out of all the fights. And
so they take their first, like, legitimate martial artist Netflix superhero and just don't have the character learn martial arts.
Well, I'm just frustrated because, and, you know, they hired a guy that looks like Iron Fist from the comics, except that they give him a beard, which he never had in the comics, and his hair is this curly fucking weird mess that's also not from the comics. I'm like, why would you fucking design this guy to not look like Iron Fist if the main reason you hired him was that he looked like the fucking guy? It's baffling to me, the decision making that went behind this. But if you want to look at my other issues for Iron Fist, I gave a pretty long descriptor sequence last time in our previous episode, the X-Men episode, and none of those complaints have changed for me. It will get a 2 out of 5 from me, and it barely gets that 2 out of 5. It scrapes it, and I swear to God, if Rosario Dawson wasn't in this fucking series, you would not be getting it, alright? Because she's in a lot of it, actually, near the end. They use her a lot, and she brings it up because she brings interesting shit to it. Colleen Wynn is a pretty interesting character that they do a weird thing with to make her like Elektra by the end of it, but still, she was compelling for a lot of it, and yeah, so it's not like there's not good things in it. There are good things in it. They bring back Hogarth from Jessica Jones.
Hogarth's awesome.
Yeah, and Hogarth's is fucking cool. So it's like they use the assets from the previous series to heighten it a little bit. But other than that, it's pretty much a waste of time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But anyway, Defenders is coming, so that would be pretty cool. Should we move on to our next news story? We got, here's some good news. Joss Whedon will be writing and is in talks to write and direct a Batgirl movie.
Okay, yes, that is actually really good news.
Now that is a good idea.
He isn't interested in bat sex.
Mm-hmm. Don't do that. No bat sex.
Please don't do that.
So that's interesting. I'm not sure like where Batgirl fits into the DC continuity.
What continuity anymore,
like,
guys?
yeah, of what because she's gonna be part of the DCEU, the continuity they got going right now. I'm not sure when this movie will fit in, like maybe it'll be after Justice League or if it'll be after the Batman solo movie. But this is the thing you get when you have a really older Batman playing, is it's like, wait, so is she gonna now become Batgirl? Has she been Batgirl before? Where is this? What is this?
What timeline are we here?
Yeah, I don't know. But that's, for me, that's just a weird question for me. For the average audience goer, they probably do not give a shit. Yeah. They're just going to go, Batgirl, that's cool. So that'll be neat. I don't think she'll be murdering people in her movie, but
You never know.
Joss Whedon doesn't usually take that many liberties with his characters.
Right.
But yeah. Also, we were talking about Rotten Tomatoes for Iron Fist. Someone else has something to say about Rotten Tomatoes. Brett Ratner, throwing some shade their way. He's, the lovely director of the Rush Hour movies and some other ilk.
That's one way of putting it, yes.
Movies that I would not say are the high mark of cinema, or even good, just, trash cinema either. He makes pretty boring movies. But his quote is saying, "The worst thing that we have in today's movie culture is Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's the destruction of our business. I have such a respect and admiration for film criticism." Sure you do. I added that
against you.
I added that part. When I was growing up, film criticism was a real art. There was intellect that went into that. You would read Pauline Kael's reviews or some others, and that doesn't exist anymore. Now it's about number. And now it's about a number, a compound number of how many positives versus negatives. Now it's about what's your Rotten Tomatoes score. And that's sad because Rotten Tomatoes score was so low on Batman v Superman, I think it put a cloud over a movie that was incredibly successful. And I'm like...
Successful doesn't mean good.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, that's...
Look at the scary movies.
Yeah, look at the scary movies. Come on, man. And it's not... Look, I'm not saying Rotten Tomatoes is a fucking, as a Bible to go by.
Yeah, no.
I would never say that.
Yeah, no.
Audiences are weird about stuff. But people don't have the disposable income to just go and see something on a whim. And movies are so long now that if I go in and see a 2.5 hour movie and I don't know, I want to know whether or not I'm gonna like the thing before I go and see it, because that's a lot of time I'm investing in it. So I need to figure out some way.
So that's the person who still went to go see the movie.
Yeah, but I'm weird and I don't make any sense. I'm dumber than the average audience goer. No, wait, that's not true. They liked Iron Fist. But
why do you attack possible members of our audience, Nick?
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
He's at the same level.
You know what? I fully apologize. It is not your fault that you have bad taste. So come on back and listen to me spin you a tale, and I'll set you right. It's fine.
I mean, to be fair, he's openly admitted that he has bad taste in the last
he does.
too.
Yeah,
So.
hey,
And even when he says he doesn't, we tell him that he does.
Listen to our Netflix and Kills. I have a particular taste in movies. Who doesn't? But that's the thing I think you should think of. You should find a critic that has the same type of taste in movies as you. What does this guy think of this movie that I really like? Oh, he liked it and for these reasons, and this is the type of movie he likes. I have a couple of those guys and I'm like, okay, I share their opinion 80% of the time. That's a pretty good indicator. And
they just mix and match.
And then I'm like, okay, so if these three guys all say the movie's good, okay, yeah, I can get behind that. But not everyone does that much research, so some people just want to go okay, how many people think this is good? And Rotten Tomatoes does give you a quick statistic going.
It shows a number. Numbers are just there,
And also, if you want to be in the know or be hey, I want to go see something that, my coworkers are probably going to talk about at work, or you don't want to feel left out of pop culture. What's trending? What's up? What's got the score? Rotten Tomatoes is that.
Right.
So it's not like it doesn't have a function. But
it's definitely not the be all end all.
No, I would mix it in with some of the film criticism to see what some people are saying, but I wouldn't disregard it altogether. I think
just watch the trailers, make your own decision.
Yeah. So Rotten Tomatoes came back and said, at Rotten Tomatoes, we completely agree that the film criticism is valuable and important. We are making it easier than ever before for fans to access potentially hundreds of professional reviews for a given film or TV show in one place. The tomato meter score, which is the percentage of positive reviews published by the professional critics, has become a useful decision-making tool for fans, but we believe it is just a starting point for them to begin discussing, debating, and sharing their own opinions. Basically, kind of a retread of what I just said. That's what they set out to make. That is what they are, and they know what they are. So I think, that was pretty mature of them on their part. They could have just responded back well, you make shitty movies, so fuck you.
Yeah. Also good defense.
But speaking of some movies that we might get a pretty good Rotten Tomato score, Zombieland 2 reveals that the script is completed.
Really?
Haven't they been working on that for like 6 years?
They've been working on this for so fucking long, and the problem is that those actors in Zombieland blew up after that movie got made. Like, all of them got really high level, like Woody Harrelson, Emma Stone, what's his face? Not Michael Cera.
Right, the other one.
Jesse Eisenberg.
That one.
Yeah. The evolved form, the second evolution.
The evolved form of Michael Cera. My Michael Cera is evolving. Din, 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 din. I'm gonna laugh about that like the whole next week. Kyle with the line of the night, and it's early. Apparently the writers are saying it's been a process. We've been bugging Sony Pictures, like we bugged them like they got bugged with Deadpool, because we're not letting it go. We want to see Zombieland 2 happen. And for me, I would love that. I think Zombieland 2 has Zombieland was a good movie, and there's I feel like one of those. It basically ends with and our adventure continues.
Right.
Like there's no I could see another romp in that universe. That could be fun. Another sequel that has a pretty is pretty neatly titled. Wreck-It Ralph 2 is in production, and they've released the title, and it's going to be Wreck-It Ralph 2. Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Okay.
I'm a wreck it.
He will indeed wreck it.
No, Ralph, it's my ISP. I'm a wreck it. So that's interesting. So that makes me think that they are going to go on internet culture, like in gaming on in the new, maybe even an MMO type thing.
Maybe.
Like it opens up the possibility for their gaming metaphor to kind of
expand a bit.
Expand a little bit. Like they could even visit like gaming site posts and stuff, and like the scum and villainy of like stuff like 4chan.
Find a forum.
Yeah, or something like that.
Find a Reddit feed.
Oh god.
Oh my god, if he could wreck 4chan, that'd be great. Could we have Wreck-It Ralph like destroy 4chan for us, please?
Doubt it.
That'd be awesome. But speaking of wrecking things, BioWare is trying to address some of the concerns over Mass Effect, and it is going to be announcing their immediate plans to address fans' concerns next week. They have been getting a lot of flack lately for some of the animation designs, some of the story choices,
some of the characters, basically everything about the game.
Some of the characters. There's not a lot that if you find you can find someone mad about almost everything about the game. Me and Travis have started playing it. If you see our Let's Plays, we are actually much farther than that. Like we've been at it like pretty well. We must have at least 40 hours into it.
I don't know what we're in.
We don't think it's I can only speak for myself, but I think we've been talking about it a little bit.
No.
I don't think it's as bad as everyone's saying.
We were really mad to begin with, and then I think that was a lot. Well, it probably helped that we were kind of down the game to begin with. Like, we weren't expecting much.
Well, the real problem is that the early access beta has more problems than the actual game does. Like the animation glitches, like some of them did get fixed before release, but these GIFs you're seeing, a lot of them are from the pre-released beta version of it. That some of those did get corrected before launch, or at least it looks like it because we didn't run into them.
No. I've seen a few weird ones. Like I've seen one where Drac like jumped up onto the countertop. I've seen one where PB was leaning when it should have been a railing, but she was turned around. And I've seen those things in every BioWare game ever. Yeah. All of them.
Also, there's the thing is that the beta version only had like the first 6-8 like it only had 6 hours to it. It had random missions cut in.
I think it had PB's loyalty mission, if I remember correctly.
So, and yeah, because it's some of those things don't work without context of what else is happening in the story. So it's weird. I don't even know why they released that beta. Honestly, that seems like it was a dumb idea on BioWare's part.
No, they should just release a beta of the multiplayer.
Yeah, but if they're going to release something for early criticism, they should have released a full version of the game for early criticism rather than just this beta of like, here's some of the missions. But yeah,
we're not going to say that the game doesn't need work, because it does.
Well, out of a game that you're probably going to sink more than 80 hours in by the time you're done, because it's one of those RPGs, the first 5 hours are a little rough because it's all exposition dump the game, like, because we need to figure out a whole new galaxy, and it's like, Yeah, and there's no easy way to do this, so we're gonna have to catch you up on what's been happening the past year while you've been frozen. And, yeah, so we will be giving more of a in-depth review with the We Are Error guys, actually. At some later point date, we'll have to, all of us will have to finish the game.
Right.
But,
because that's how we do reviews, is we actually, complete it first.
Yeah, so as far as my initial impressions, call them mixed, because there's definitely some design things I wish were different. Which
you will hear repeatedly if you watch the Let's Plays.
If you watch the Let's Plays, yeah, you'll hear
every episode.
You'll hear Minimap a lot, but
and that fucking compass. Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the story goes, I think the characters are pretty well developed. I think they are as well developed as the Mass Effect 1 characters were in the one game.
Right, and let's face it, this game is very comparable to Mass Effect 1. Sometimes to its detriment.
Yeah. And then of course there was the whole gay controversy too of because I haven't played any of those missions yet, so I can't give a full synopsis. But apparently the sex scenes for the gay characters are not as either as explicit or well done as the heterosexual ones.
I think one of them just fades to black.
One of them fades to black.
Yeah.
Okay, so something
I haven't seen either. Just going off rumor.
Because I don't want to get into that right now and chastise them for that because I don't know if that's true or not. But if it is true, I will have some words to say about it during the We Are Error review. But with that, we can move on to the next story. Something even more sad is that Spider-Man might be exiting the MCU after the Homecoming sequel. Not the new Homecoming one, the one after it. Because that's what when the deal is up for them in Disney, that's their extended deal. And apparently Sony has been, I don't know if they're trying to flex their muscles a little bit at Disney, or if they're like, well, we don't have to keep Spider-Man in the MCU after our deal is done. Like, we can just take him back and do our own thing after he's done.
You could.
And I'm like,
won't make any money.
Well, the thing with that is that they'd have to change actors again.
Yep.
Because casting was Disney's. Disney made sure that they got in charge of casting. And I think for that exact reason. So yes, they can, whether or not it's a good idea or if they actually would.
They have to do this, essentially, for negotiation purposes.
Right, yes.
Right. So
For negotiating with Disney, probably, you don't go in going, yeah, we're fucked without you. Like, you don't go in, you have to negotiate from a position of strength.
Yep.
So you expect that.
It's like how you're supposed to negotiate legislation, i.e. the latest healthcare legislation, which was pre-negotiated, so everyone hated it already. Is you start out at the extremes. You have to start out at the extremes so that you do eventually get something.
You meet somewhere in the
middle.
middle.
You go like, okay, this wasn't as bad as they once were asking for.
And, as far as, I would not be super worried about that. I think Sony, it'll depend on what we see from the Homecoming movie, but Sony will probably be easily just like, it's okay if we just make the money. Plus, they're going to be making their own spin-off movies of the Spider-Man universe that might be connected to the MCU, but probably won't be very much. Because they're going to make not only a Black Cat movie, a Silver Sable movie, and also a rated R Venom movie. Or a possibly rated R. They're going back and forth right now.
Not sure how that's going to work.
Because they saw Logan and were like, oh, we want that money. Because we think we're Fox. I'm like, Sony, you are not Fox. Even Fox isn't even Fox isn't Fox. Like, Fox isn't as good as it thinks it is either. But, yeah, none of those movies sound like they're good ideas to me.
Black Cat, maybe.
Black Cat, you need to set up Black Cat as a foil for Spider-Man first, because Black Cat is just a kind of an asshole thief until she meets Spider-Man and kind of grows as a character more because of Spider-Man's influence. Unless they change the character to be like, oh, she's more of a nice person before she meets Spider-Man. But then again, how would that play? Because she's supposed to be this, like, devil temptress for Spider-Man. Right. But if she's already kind of a good character, that doesn't fit. Anyway, that does, now that I'm saying it about that aloud, that does sound like a decision Sony would make. Because they're dumb.
All I can say is that they did just decide to take Spider-Man completely out of the MCU. If this wasn't just a ploy, I probably wouldn't go see those movies. But anyway, just straight up be like, no, I refuse.
We'll probably be talking more about that in the trailer talk, because we have the Homecoming trailer we got to talk about. But speaking of which, unless there's any other news you guys want to bring up?
Well, we actually should bring up this ISP thing.
Oh yeah, we should talk about. Thank you.
Because our lovely government has decided to get rid of some of the Obama administration's protections that we had against the ISPs, internet service providers. They can now take our download and search history and basically sell it on the open market.
Yeah. And as far as invasions of privacy, I don't know if I can get that much more personal of, our search histories other than literally just being in the room with me over my shoulder looking at what I'm looking at my porn.
Well, this could even go a little bit further because they could literally sell it to, say, the police to track you. It's a slippery slope kind of thing.
Well, you see, even with the slippery slope, I don't even think it's a slippery slope because I'm like, I don't like it from the get.
Right.
Like the whole thing with slippery slope is like it could get to a point where I think it would violate things. I'm like, no, I don't like that from the get go.
Also, if we want to add this into the liberal tier section, it was, I believe, fully
opposed by
all Democrats opposed it, and all Republicans signed off on it, which of course meant it won because we are currently
shocking.
They're not for consumer protection. Is one of the big problems with, in my opinion, the Republican Party in general.
Is that they serve their corporate donors rather than any of their constituents, which are the consumers.
But luckily, there are a few things that you can do to protect yourselves and your internet history. Right now, there's actually a temporary thing. This isn't actually going to solve anything, but if you Google internet noise, a program actually made a little program that basically uses a Google webpage, and it will just passively, constantly search for something. And it just does random shit. It adds nouns together and searches for it. It's pretty passive overall. It'll just really fuck up your internet search history. So,
what's it called again?
Internet noise.
Internet noise, yeah.
It won't actually stop them from being able to sell your data. It'll just make that data not very useful.
Yep.
It's more of a sign of protest than an actual protection.
I am going to actually give us examples fairly soon.
Okay.
So,
yes, do that, Kyle, because I would like to see that, actually.
that might take a couple of news stories for me to get down. But
I have one more.
Okay, well, I'm going to keep going.
Go going,
There are some other things you can use to protect ourselves. You can use HTTPS. It's not a solid protection. What it actually does is basically make it so that they can see what site you're on, but not what page, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So they can see, if you're on a porn site, they're gonna know you're looking at porn.
Alright.
But if you're on the Sears catalog, they'll know you're shopping at Sears. They're not gonna know if you're buying condoms or razors or clothes.
So they'll know I'm on a porn site, but they won't know my specific fetish.
Right. If you're looking into, lesbian bestiality porn, they're not gonna know.
Yes, my...
okay, yeah. The first place it brought me to was actually a Magic the Gathering card.
They know you, Kyle!
Oh my god!
They're already watching
The point is that's supposed to be inaccurate.
TripAdvisor, what the fuck? You're just doing stuff that I normally do!
Damn you! Damn you!
Alright, so maybe this thing isn't so good. Maybe
it's showing me a photo of the sloth for a jungle tour, which I also probably would do. Come on, make some more noise. We need to get out of stuff that I'm already into.
There is a device called Tor, which you can use, and you can also get a VPN, which is a virtual privacy network.
Okay, now the next one is a Buddy Squeegee by Umbra.
That's adorable.
On Wayfair.com. It is a little meeple that is holding up a squeegee that you can use on your car. That shit, I find useless. Thank you.
Anyway, a VPN is basically paying someone else to encrypt your data. So, I mean, as long as you trust this other company to not snoop on you, this is pretty much the best thing to do, is a VPN. It's a service, it'll cost you money per month. But it will protect your internet service from your ISP, essentially.
All right.
There's a few other ones as well. Overall, though, just look into it. Be safe. Because, let's face it, these people are going to sell your data.
Yeah. And
the worst thing about this is even worse of a slippery slope is, now that they've done this, it brings into question whether or not they will get rid of net neutrality.
Right.
Which is...
That's a big concern,
That's
too.
a super big concern, because I really don't want my internet to basically become a cable package.
And that's a real big thing right there.
And considering, isn't our guy that's like Trump assigned to his cabinet to do internet shit actually part of like the FCC or something?
I have no idea.
Ugh.
That'll be dependent, because that also helps big corporations too, because it basically puts the power on who has the most money to pay for a higher internet, and that's that I find ridiculous, because that's
if you ever do see them trying to get rid of net neutrality, please pay attention and please call your representatives and bitch about it.
So yeah, by the way, Internet Noise does on their webpage say important. This button will make some noise for digital protest. It does not make you safe.
Yep, if you go to that website, it actually has all the examples I was talking about.
Yes.
In fact, I think one or two more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you want to use some of those to do anything to keep you safe, or to just make some noise and protest, because that's what that particular one is for. That we work for you. One last
Meatloaf for crying out loud lyrics. Stop it!
Yeah.
Unless you're Kyle, in which case he's just already been watched.
I do
sharing my face with a pimple.
Love. But one more news story before we go into the trailer talk. GameStop is recording losses for this year, and apparently they're going to be closing up some stores. And they are blaming the internet, basically the practices of the publishers, the video game publishers, rather than anything with them and their shitty fucking service. But yeah, the truth is that people are just buying digitally more, and that's for a lot of reasons, not for any one in particular. But I think the main one, for me at least, if I'm going to speak for me, is that it's convenient.
Yep.
And I don't have to drive and try and sell a game for like $2, even when I bought it at $60 like a month ago. And I don't have to deal with the shitty service people who are trying to push pre-orders and other shit on me for games I don't want, and basically deal with a confrontational customer service that treats me like I'm the enemy. And yeah, that's the thing, is that I would much rather just pay $60 and wait for a couple hours for my game to download, because it's easier for me and it's less of a hassle.
Yeah, especially since a lot of their big games, they drop at midnight. Like, oh, you mean I can download this while I'm sleeping? Oh, that's amazing.
And if there's one thing that people will pay for, it's convenience.
Yeah.
People will pay for it. And I think
GameStop's definitely paying for it.
So yeah, I don't know about you guys and your experiences with GameStop, but I'm not crying over this at all.
No.
I mean,
usually even this kind of situation, it's like, well, it's bad because people are losing jobs, but GameStop basically purposely gets rid of the good people they hire and hires the assholes. So.
Hey, my friend is a GameStop manager.
Is your friend an asshole?
No, he's actually a really nice guy.
Okay, well, I feel bad for him then.
Yes, that person I feel bad for.
Feel bad for you. What's his name?
Caleb.
Okay.
Caleb, you're my boy. And when you're going down with the ship, I will try and throw you a life ring of some kind. I don't know. But everybody else, fuck off. Only Caleb. I only have enough in me to forgive one person, okay? One of them. And Caleb gets it.
5 things that can actually make your... Wait, 5 things that can actually change the way your vagina smells? What?
Okay, well that's one of mine, I guess.
Welcome to America. Now go change your pants.
Okay,
I'm just gonna be spreading these out throughout the episode. I'm sorry.
Just keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Make some noise, Kyle.
Forever. But with that, should we move on to take a small musical break and go right into the trailer talk?
Sure.
All right, we'll be back right after this.
It's potty.
Potty.
Average potty. File type HTML.
Man, we're having way too much fun with this. Anyway, back to the show. Welcome to UGO Podcast. Oh my god, we're recording. Fuck. But yes, we are back, and we are ready to talk about some goddamn trailers today. We gotta talk about the superheroes today, Kyle and Travis.
Whichever one you're talking to.
I was gonna say Cavis or
Kravis.
something.
Kravis.
I'm Kravis. You're Trial.
Trial.
I'm Trial.
Trial and Kravis. I would watch that. NBC, make that show. You're 2 cops and you're above the law. But who else is above the law? Well, it's the Justice League, and they just dropped their first full trailer this week. You guys seen it yet?
Nope.
You seen it? Okay, well, you keep your expectations low, okay? Because you know these guys always make good trailers, but their movies suck, alright? So you guys, you keep control, alright? You got it?
Nick?
You promise? Alright, let's go.
I don't know how much of that was sarcasm.
Arthur Curry, the Aquaman. It's on him.
Organic and biomechatronic body parts. He's a cyborg.
You should probably move.
Barry Allen. Whoever you're looking for, it's not me. He's a Batman.
They said the age of heroes would never come again.
It has to.
What are your superpowers again?
I'm rich.
I'm rich, bitch!
My turn.
And there's the murder.
I'm Batman.
Shall we?
It's good to see you playing well with others again. Just like a bat. I dig it. Maybe temporary.
So I gotta ask, is it like reversed here? Is it if it's a terrible trailer, it's a good movie?
Oh my god! Did you just see that? Aquaman was riding on the Batmobile, and they stood in a line, and they did the thing, and then Batman was saying funny stuff? Oh my god. No! Not again! No!
I didn't think it was a good trailer.
Warner Brothers, you're bad. No, this guy's a good trailer. No, I'll tell you why. Song choice is good, they show the action, they bring up the camaraderie for the team. There are good things about this trailer. This movie's still gonna be bullshit. And I know this for a fact, and I'll tell you why. I'm gonna break this down for you, alright?
Okay.
Cyborg shows up in like the beginning of the trailer, and they don't really focus on him much after that, because he looks awful.
Yup.
His CG is pretty bad. And I thought, I'm like, oh man, he doesn't look very good. And I was listening to another podcast, and they said something, and now I can't unsee it. They said it's like, he looks like Jay-Z and Megatron fucked and had an illegitimate child. And I'm like,
Wow.
damn it. That will now be how I see that guy. But yeah, he does not look great. Aquaman actually looks pretty good. I think I actually kind of like the personality of Aquaman as this kind of like barbarian kind of frat boy bro. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's go. Let's kill some parademons. It's some good
Exactly
shit.
like a bat. I dig it.
all right, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool, bats. I kind of like Batman just be like, I'm rich. I'm the rich guy on the team. I know that. I know that I don't have any powers, but I'm awesome. I'm Batman. So fuck yourself, Flash.
I'm Batman.
And I like Wonder Woman seems to have like the actual cool action sequences, like from her trailer too, like that cool slide move. And like, I'm like, oh, I can actually see her fight. That's neat. The actual action we get to see, it looks like it's pretty well choreographed. And I actually get to see what's happening. There's not like so many quick cuts. Like we see Aquaman actually stab two parademons with his harpoon. Like we get to see the cool money shots.
The one thing that about the action that concerns me occasionally, especially with Zack Snyder films and these new DC universe, tends to like they try to substitute impact with speed.
Yes.
And sometimes to its detriment, where it's just jarring.
Yeah, because then for every time we get the one like, oh, cool, he just stabbed two parademons, we get the Wonder Woman hits two guys off of Batman's car, but it's so fast, we don't feel anything off of it. It's just like, what the fuck was that? So, yeah.
Also, remind me again, what are parademons and why do I care?
They're the underlings of Apocalypse, and they're basically stormtroopers. They're like things that you can kill, but it's alright, because they're like, not people. But I don't know, and it depends on the continuity. Sometimes they're like cyborgs, sometimes they're just people from Apocalypse, like that's what they look like, and they're soldiers or whatever. It looks like in this one, they're treating it as that this is not the first time that Apocalypse forces have invaded. The bad guy for this one's going to be Steppenwolf instead of Darkseid, I guess. Now, I said what I liked about this trailer, but there's also the telltale markers of a typical Zack Snyder DC film in here. And one of those is that, hey, is it ever daytime in your universe?
Nope.
Like at all?
Well, what you didn't see is actually Apocalypse is floating above the Earth at all times.
It's weird because on alternate Earths in DC, most of them abide by the same solar rules as all the other Earths. But apparently Snyderverse, it's like night 20 hours out of the day. Like you only get 4 hours of sunlight, and even then it's overcast.
It's 30 days of night.
It is 30 days of night perpetually in fucking Zack Snyder's world.
And good thing we don't have some kind of vampire character.
Even during the day, during Aquaman sequences, it's all overcast and fucking dimly lit and all blue.
I thought they were just in London.
And oh my god, the color palette of this. I'm like, why is everything so fucking dark?
You know why.
And everything is all dulled. Like, look at all this.
Blue.
Yeah, like even the Flash, like, we can't have him be red. That's too bright of a color
It's like
palette.
dull and blue. Oh, and don't get me started on that blue fucking lightning. I still hate the blue lightning. Like, I'm like, why is this lightning not yellow? Yellow would be actually pop from the scene more. Because you're using a blue filter over everything. It makes the lightning look weird and dull and not popping out of the screen. Like, it doesn't make it look like it's coming from Flash. It makes it look like the environment's trying to eat Flash with its blue filter. Like, no, you have a red costume. We don't like that. Ah! It's like the movie's trying to eat him. But yeah, the other thing is that it still doesn't explain, like, the continuity of, like, all these dudes. Like, how are they coming together? Like, why is Aquaman? Because you just know, like, ready.
Nick, the song said they were coming together. You had to listen to the song.
Get ready for a fucking 10-minute explanation for Cyborg's backstory where he used to be a football player. Mm-hmm. Like, we'll probably open with the movie with that. Oh, and then we gotta spend at least 15 minutes on Aquaman and how he used to be this prince and now he's, like, outcast. He's doing other shit. And then we gotta explain Barry Allen, like, why he's got his powers. Like, we've already eaten up 30 to 45 minutes of movie. Because Zack Snyder doesn't tell a movie in a quick succession like that. He's gonna spend almost half this movie explaining everybody, and then the last 20 minutes will be this big action sequence that we see. And, out of a 2.5 hour movie, that's what we're gonna get. And I know this. And how do I know this? Because I've watched his other goddamn movies. This is what he always does. This was the same thing with Man of Steel. It was the same thing with BVS. This dude has a pattern, and he's never broken it.
Do we have to watch this?
I'm gonna watch it. Like, I gotta watch at least Justice League and see how that actually pans out.
Well, I'm gonna watch Wonder Woman, and then I'll determine whether I'll watch it.
But maybe after, because, I'm gonna watch Wonder Woman, and if Wonder Woman's a piece of shit, I might just give up completely, because I'm not gonna be... If Wonder Woman is good, I'm like, okay, well, if Wonder Woman is good, maybe I'll see it for the Wonder Woman parts, and hopefully they'll get feedback of, like, we like this thing, and they'll try and redesign. Although now I'm actually kind of hoping they all tank horribly so that they'll just restart again. Because
burn to the ground.
Because the worst thing about Wonder Woman is that it's going to be tied to all this previous shit.
Yep.
For me, I don't think they could release a trailer that would give me confidence in this movie. I don't think it's possible because I know their tricks. I know what this movie is going to be because I've seen the other
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Suicide Squad had like one of the best trailers for a movie I've ever seen, really. Like, as far as cutting for a movie. And even that turned out to be like, no, that's not the movie that they were selling.
Movie you sold. No.
Yeah, all this proves to me is that Warner Brothers knows how to cut a trailer, and we've known that before. We know that they know how to sell the trailer. Yeah. Also, what is the continuity here too? Because in the previous trailer, we had Batman. It's like, I heard you weren't real, and I'm like, you can't have that. You can't have, oh, Batman's a myth and no one knows if he's real. Because in your first movie, you already stated news anchors saying, man, isn't it kind of fucked up Batman brands his enemies and does that stuff and we know he exists? You can't do both, Zack Snyder. You either have old, grizzled Batman that everyone kind of doesn't like, or you have new Batman where it's like, who is this new guy? Who is this mysterious... No, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
No mixing and matching.
But yeah, with that, I don't know. I think I know there's going to be at least one more trailer before this fucking movie comes out, and I don't think they could really show me anything that would really make me have more confidence in this movie.
When's it coming out again?
It is. When is this thing?
Is it late this year?
I think it was in 2018.
Is it in 2018? Okay.
Because was going to have Wonder Woman. Maybe it'll be late this year. I forget. I don't see it right now, but. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else anyone wants to add before we move on to our next one?
You know my opinion of this.
It's November this year. Oh, so it's gonna be a November release. So yeah, we know Travis's fuck DC policy. Kyle, how about you?
Fuck Warner Bros, not DC personally.
Again, I'm waiting on
Wonder Woman
to
all right
determine whether I would see this.
Well, we'll see. Wonder Woman's coming up soon, so hopefully we'll get more of a vibe off of that. With that, should we move on to our next trailer?
Yeah.
How about something even scarier than that? How about the new trailer for It? It. Yes. Let's talk about some scary
remake.
Let's talk about some
water skiing at Lake Chino Valley.
Thank you, Kyle.
And on that note, the one of these it'll tie into the trailer. One of these random internet search. It'll be great.
There you go. She's all ready, Captain.
Thanks, Billy.
Oh! It's a paper boat, man. Let it go.
But his brother built it for him.
Derry's not like any town I've ever been in before. People die or disappear 6 times the national average.
Wait, was that place called Derry?
Kids are worse.
I think so.
Derry, Maine, yep.
Okay.
Way worse. We all float down here.
I saw something. There was this
Clown.
What the fuck?
It's the mouse. It's the house from Monster House.
Look. It's all connected by the sewers. That's where it lives.
Along with the Ninja Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? No.
Bill, if you'll come with me, you'll float too. You'll float too. You'll float too. You'll float too. You'll float
too. Clowns. The answer was always clowns. We are always afraid of clowns.
Yes, as far as that, so yeah, that was the It remake trailer. So they're going for a darker tone than, say, the made-for-TV movie with Tim Curry as Pennywise the clown. I don't know how I feel about it. No, I do. I don't like it.
Yeah. It kind of feels as if it's just going to devolve into a traditional horror movie.
Yeah, from later on in the trailer. At first I'm like, oh, this could be a good revamp of an older story. It doesn't look like they're deviating too much from the old one, but then it got to like jump scare kind of, and clearly like slasher film almost.
Yeah, and supernatural, like the whole thing with the camera or the old photograph thing.
I don't know. I kind of like from the original. One of the things I like about the original TV movie is that Pennywise has this weird personality. He's funny, like he's kind of weird, and like he's still threatening, but it's like, I don't know, he does weird shit to fuck with the kids. It's basically just a whole movie of just him fucking with kids. Like he's like, fuck these kids, I hate them. I'm gonna screw around. And this one is going for a much more sinister, like, gritty, like, oh, it's a real...
It kind of reminds me like The Ring and The Grudge and that kind of thing, but with a clown.
There is some scary imagery. I feel like it was weird that kid was so concerned. Like, they did that slow-mo of like, no, my paper boat. I'm like, it's a paper boat, man, that your brother can make you another one. It was weird that they slow-mo'd on like, no!
Still funny when he nails head, though.
It was funny. Yeah, so, I don't know. For me, I am still on the train of like, do we have to remake absolutely goddamn everything?
Yes, Hollywood doesn't have any more original thoughts. We must remake things.
And then it's like, I guess they are doing something different with this, but yet they're doing something different from the original to make it more like the norm of today with the jump scares and all this other stuff. And I'm like, damn it. I don't know how you make this scary clown story, how you update it. I wouldn't add a giant spider, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's basically what I was thinking. Get rid of like the last part of that movie.
Like that might be cool because, or maybe that would be one of the things they keep out of nowhere. Like they still have a giant CG spider.
Mm-hmm. Actually, it'd be kind of funny if they kept that, but added be like that was just a trick anyway. Like, why would I do that? That's dumb.
Yeah, so add this one as the unmixed onto these feelings of like, they probably didn't need to do this.
Yeah, it's kind of
side of me. Any other feelings on it before we move?
There just wasn't really anything in the movie that really attracted me to it.
I like some of the imagery. I like the idea of these kids getting these neat visuals, like the thousands of like burning hands through the door sort of thing. I'm like, okay, that's kind of neat. I'm just worried that there's just not going to be, when Pennywise actually shows up, it'll clash with this darker tone of like his silliness will clash with it. But with that, should we move on to our next one?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so we got the even more CG. So we're talking about giant CG spiders, but we're going to move on to some CG apes.
Different CG animals.
So we got another trailer for War for the Planet of the Apes. So we got to watch them fight. Let them fight. Let them fight.
One, isn't he? What are you going to name him? Do they look like just apes to you?
He saved our lives. He was remarkable.
Apes together! Strong!
You're him. You're Caesar. We've been searching for you for so long.
I did not start this war. I fight only to protect apes.
Human gets sick. Ape gets smart. Then human kill ape. But not me. I run.
There are times when it is necessary to abandon our humanity, to save humanity.
Nope.
They must pay. I will finish this. I offered you peace. I showed you mercy.
You talk about mercy? No matter what you say, eventually you'd replace us. That's the law of nature. So look what you've done.
What did the humans promise you? No matter what you do, you'll never be one of them. You are.
We are the beginning! Apes together! Strong! We are the beginning! Apes together! Strong! Have you come to save your apes?
I came for you.
Fuck yeah. Well, I believe that was the trailer for War for the Planet of the Apes, and I think we were wondering in the previous trailer why there was some apes fighting with the humans in order to fight off against them. Well, apparently there's humans and apes fighting on both sides.
Yeah.
Because there's at least one of them. Like,
we saw the gorilla.
At least this one gorilla is like, oh, you one of those house monkeys, I guess. Like what? Like
what? Those self-hating monkeys.
One of them self-hating monkeys. Like what? Like I don't know what. Like because the humans are absolute assholes in these movies.
Yeah.
What could they have offered this monkey in order for it to turn on its people like that? But I don't know. We'll have to see the movie to find out. I am really interested to see this, and I'll tell you why. Woody Harrelson as this bad guy, he's got my attention. Mm-hmm. I feel like he's probably going to be a much bigger part of the movie than Gary Oldman was in the last one. I like his crazy psycho military commander performance going on.
It almost
here.
seems more like a cult.
Yeah, like we have to abandon our humanity to save humanity. I'm just like, nope. That's interesting because, you know, it would be like one of the points like, what's the normal movie thing would just say it would be like, what's the use of saving humanity if we don't keep our humanity? Like that would be the original line, and Woody Harrelson, I guess, would be like, fuck that, I want to live.
Fair, I guess.
Yeah, so I've enjoyed all the Planet of the Apes movies since the
first
the relaunch. Yeah, the Rise and Conquest, I think.
I forgot the second one was called.
Yeah. I'm actually really looking forward to this. It's an interesting plot point to bring apes even on the both sides. That's a very interesting tack to take with it. I like the fact that throughout these movies they have portrayed like there's asshole apes too.
Yeah.
Like there's been douchebags. Remember Koba?
Yep.
Koba was a douchebag.
Douche.
But yeah, so Color Me is pretty excited. How about you guys?
Yeah, it does look like a really good movie.
Man.
Since I didn't follow the other ones, I'm like,
Kyle's just like, monkeys. I guess monkeys are cool. Like,
yeah. Is that a monkey?
Is that a monkey?
Is that a monkey?
But yes, how about we talk about the superhero that we've all came here to see, to talk about today.
Talk about?
Yeah, because out of all the superheroes, this is the one I'm most excited for, that's for sure. Let's talk about Captain Underpants.
From the studio that brought you Shrek, Kung Fu Panda, and Madagascar.
Hi, I'm George Beard, and this is my best friend Harold Hutchins.
We just make comics and try to make each other laugh.
And this old guy is Mr. Krupp.
George Harold!
He's the worst principal in the world.
Ever since you attended this school, you've been responsible for one prank after another.
Some of those must have been really hard to pull off.
Like that tiger?
Oh, that tiger was crazy.
Ah! I told you I would get you one day. I'm going to have you two placed in separate classes. We're going to annihilate your friendship.
He's so gleeful about it.
Put the pin down, Mr. Krupp, or we'll hypnotize you.
That's big.
What's happening?
I don't know. When I snap my fingers, you will obey our every command. You are now the amazing Captain Underpants!
Tra-la-la!
I honestly didn't think that would happen.
This summer.
Come, sidekick!
We gotta stop him.
Why?
Out of the road, bozo! Why, thank you, vehicle person. Ow!
Yeah, we should probably go get him.
Their greatest creation.
Captain Underpants, you can't actually fly!
I take to the sky like an ostrich!
Wow.
Is now their biggest problem.
Stand down, you monster! Tra-la-la! I think I'm starting to tire him out!
Based on the worldwide phenomenon.
Hiya, class. I'm your cool new teacher, not some scary guy with a secret evil agenda. Guys, I totally got this. Yeah, totally, he's got it.
Kevin Hart, Ed Helms, Thomas Middleditch, Nick Kroll.
When it's cut all together like that, you really get a sense of the scope.
DreamWorks' Captain Underpants.
Oh, so you're trapped in some sort of invisible box-like prison.
Is it okay that I'm kind of loving this?
Yes and no.
I will set you free.
Oh, but mostly yes.
So yes, that was the first trailer for Captain Underpants, the movie. And I don't need any more because I'm going to go see it.
I wasn't actually so sure how well this would turn out into a movie when I first heard it. Yeah, I like this. This is fun.
So you remember the books, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the books from when we were younger. And the terrible toilets, the lunch ladies from Dimension X or something from another planet. Professor Poopy Pants. I really loved those books as a kid because they were kind of just like crazy, like this is what they almost like felt like what were written by a kid, like this is what a kid would think was funny, like we're gonna hypnotize our teacher, turn him into a superhero. What's his superhero name? Captain Underpants. And like, well, what are his powers? They're like, oh, he's got like super strength, and he says he's got a catchphrase, tra-la-la. It has like this crazy phonetic energy. They even had like those flip-o-rama sections where you could animate, like they had animated fight scenes in the book where you could have them punch stuff. Yeah, I have a special place in my heart for the Captain Underpants series, so I'm glad to see it here. I'm glad to see the level of absurd humor still around. I kind of like Professor Crump as being like, I'm going to annihilate your friendship.
Yeah. He was very gleeful about that.
And I'm like, yes, he should be that level of evil. Like, he's unhealthily obsessed with George and Harold. Like, I know they're the pranksters of the school, but he has a weird, vendetta against them. Yeah, so, I don't know. So, Travis, do you think you feeling like they're being faithful at all? Like you're being faithful?
It seems pretty good.
Yeah, I do like that there's he's, in the elevator with the woman, and he's just like, oh, no. I love her freaking out. I kind of like I wish they wouldn't have put the honk when he's punching the mime. I think that was like, oh, that takes away from the impact. I want him to punch a mime. But I'm super violent against mimes, so. Yeah, so Kyle, did you read the Captain Underpants books? Or
Nope.
No, so this was just complete nonsense to you, probably.
No, I kind of understood. I think I read maybe the first one when I was younger, but, here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
It's a little disconcerting hearing Kevin Hart.
It is weird.
And another adult. Can't remember his name.
Voicing kids.
Yeah, voicing kids. Just like, I don't expect that to be the noise coming out of your mouth, and the animation looked a little I mean, it's kind of styled in the same way as the book, but it's very
distracting.
No, it's not.
It's just it's
very low key.
Well, when you read the book, it's not like you're thinking Harold's going to sound like Kevin Hart or whatnot. Like you're like, that's not the voice you picture. So I do agree with that the voices put me off for a little bit. I was just like, that was weird. In the animation style, I think it fits with what the book looks like because they go off the designs of the book, and the books are very like the art style of the books are very simple, kind of like almost children's drawings of like everyone's like made out of blocks, and like Professor Crump is basically a big egg with legs. So yeah, that's very interesting. I hope it turns out to be a good movie because I really out of all the properties that I feel nostalgic over, that is one that I'm like, man, I like those books. Those are really fun.
They are fun.
A good healthy kind of like, outlet for some like, angsty, rebellious, toddler, preteen stuff kind of. But with that, should we get to the, the lesser superhero? I guess we got one more to talk about.
Must be.
This one guy is not as good, but we could watch the new Spider-Man
we'll give it a
Homecoming
shot.
trailer. I guess we could do it.
So, to become an Avenger, are there like trials or an interview?
Do me a favor. Can't you just be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man? Just stay close to the ground.
You're the Spider-Man from YouTube.
From YouTube.
Can you summon an army of spiders?
No, Ned, no.
Do you know him too?
Stole his shield.
Can I try the suit on?
Stole his shield.
Badass.
The rich and the powerful, like Stark, they don't care about us. The world's changing, boys. Time we change too.
These weapons are crazy dangerous.
Listen, Peter, forget the flying monster guy. There are people who handle this sort of thing.
The illegal weapons barrier was at 2:30. You missed it.
That was nice.
No.
Well, now we have context for that shot.
What if somebody had died?
I was just trying to be like you.
I wanted you to be better. I'm gonna need the suit back.
But I'm nothing without this suit.
If you're nothing without this suit, then you shouldn't have it.
That seems hypocritical.
I screwed up.
You need to stop carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders.
I want you to understand. I'll do anything to protect my family.
Didn't realize he was going to go against Dom.
About. So don't marry me. Because I will kill you and everybody you love.
My friends are up there!
Spider chaser!
The guy is still out there. I've just got to do this on my own.
Just don't do anything stupid. All right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, that was the Spider-Man trailer, and oh my god! So good!
Well, I'm still pretty sure, like, by the end of that movie, everyone who you have met will know he's a Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, I'm actually kind of okay with that, because the people that know he's Spider-Man should know he's Spider-Man, and that's, his friend Gank there. And I like that. I liked the fist bump that they did, like the cute little thing. Like, they did sell their friendship in like 20 seconds. Like, okay, yeah, I get that. Apparently there's a big controversy over this trailer. People are complaining online that there's like, oh, it shows way too much. Like, it basically spoils the movie. It says, it shows Vulture dying in that turbine thing. And I'm like, do you watch the same trailer as me? It doesn't show him falling. It shows Peter almost getting into that thing and then Vulture chasing him, but it doesn't show Vulture dying. I mean, he could die like that, but the trailer doesn't show it. And yeah, so I guess there was a lot of people complaining that this shows way too much of the story. And, I will agree on one point though. That the storyline, thing is necessary. You have to sell what the movie is about. And it's about him losing the suit, i.e. the metaphor for Tony Stark's trust, and earning it back with his down-to-earth level suit. So, like, that's the main story. I don't get that complaining. I'm like, well, that's just what the movie's about. Like, that's not too big of a spoiler. But there is a thing, like, with the scene with the fairy, where he's saving the fairy, like, and he's saving him, like, oh, that's cool, I got context for that scene now. Like Kyle was saying during the trailer. And then
Iron Man comes in.
But then Iron Man comes in and he saves it. I'm like, well, now I know how that scene ends. Like, why didn't you just fade to black and go and fade to the scene of, like, hey, some people could have gotten hurt, because then, we would assume, like, okay, things probably worked out, but I don't know what happened with the fairy. Maybe someone got hurt. Like, maybe that's why he's yelling at him for. So I don't like that they spoil the end of that scene, basically, unless something else happens to where, like, even it gets screwed up even more.
Could be.
And they have to do something else. But it feels like that's how that scene ends, is like he comes in to save Spider-Man's ass. And I'm like, well, that kind of takes away the tension of that whole scene where he's trying to hold the fairy together, because I know any second Iron Man's going to be coming through and saving him. So you kind of undercut the moment there. So on that point, I will say, like, they should have left that out.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think the trailer was pretty good overall. I like this suit. Did you guys catch this? So we're in the beginning where form fits to him.
Yeah.
That is fucking awesome. Like, I love that.
I just like the web gliders.
It has the web gliders from, like, the 90s cartoon, and it has a spider tracer, like, on his thing where you can send it out, and it's, like, awesome. Like, it's fantastic.
Nick's nerd 90s guy right here. Just
I think it's almost hard to screw up a Spider-Man costume, though. I mean, it takes a lot of work to make one.
At first, I was going to point out a bunch of examples.
No.
Well, I love it because it's the first time we've had an explanation for why the costume looks as good as it does. Because Tony Stark made the fucking thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I can totally believe this thing was made by Tony Stark and he gave it to this kid rather than the kid developing it himself. So I like that. I like this aspect of Tony Stark being the dad figure to Spider-Man.
Yeah, he really is.
That's actually really cool, because Spider-Man is like, oh man, I love you. Like, you're everything I want to be. You're this smart inventor dude. And you're also a superhero. That's what I want to be. And Iron Man's like, you don't want to be me. I don't want to be me, but I kind of have to be me. And
you should be more like Captain America.
Yeah, and I love that because Iron Man kind of knows that for the last couple of movies that he's been the villain. Like I love Iron Man and everything, But he fucking made Ultron and then solved the problem by creating another fucking dangerous AI.
It turned out fine.
His decision-making skills have been questionable as of late.
I mean, he destroyed a whole entire city, but it turned out fine.
Yeah, and as far as the villains go, we have Michael Keaton coming back and reprising his role as Birdman. But I like this version of the Vulture. The suit looks good. Like, I'm going to try if I can't find the suit here. But
yeah, it's hard to see a full, like, direct look at it for very long.
Yeah, but I like this harness thing that he's wearing, and like the scope of the wings and the mask, the gas mask thing looks cool.
Big improvement from the comics.
Oh yeah, from Baldy dude.
Long nose, Baldy long nose.
Yeah, he's got a long nose because apparently he genetically knew he would eventually develop wings and become a vulture. But the other cool thing about it is that apparently from the story details here, him and Bokeem Woodbine and some of his other crew are part of a group known as Damage Control, which is the group that cleans up after superhero fights.
Right.
And apparently they've been using that. They've been cleaning up after superhero fights, scavenging tech and stuff. And they've been kind of hoarding it and keeping it themselves. And apparently in this scenario, Tony Stark comes down and is like, whoa.
It's taking too far.
Hey, I'm going to shut this down. And he basically takes away, he shuts that whole thing down and takes away the tech or whatever. I'm not sure exactly what happens, but there's a rift between this guy, and that's why they have it out for Tony Stark. Like, fuck those guys. Like, he screwed me over and took away, our means to make money, and he screwed over my family, which is my crew. Apparently it's extended family for the Fast and the Furious crew. And so I'm like, hey, that's a villain that has a legitimate grievance against Iron Man and has a real motivation of why he's doing the things that he's doing. And explains where his fucking costume comes from. He's had it because he's been scavenging fucking alien tech and other crazy crap from the other superhero fight. You see, I don't need everything explained for me in a superhero movie. But I kind of like that there's a little hints dropped like, oh, that's probably where he got that thing. Right. Or that's why Spider-Man's eyes shrink and get bigger, is that his sensory overload, like they had one line about it in Civil War. Like, I don't need a whole backstory on everything, but I kind of like that they give us a little bit to go like, oh, well, alright, that justifies in my mind. That way I'm not constantly thinking about like, where would he get this costume? Like, how does it work? I don't know. For me, I'm like, and I love that this trailer dropped like 3 days after Justice League. They've done this like 3 times now. Remember when Batman v Superman came out and they dropped the Civil War trailer like the next week? Marvel has been really... I love how...
It's like they have trailers in the wings.
I'm positive that they're just keeping trailers now for when...
What if Russia's hacking DC?
Oh no! And not the DNC hack, but the DC hack. They missed the end. They fucked up the first time, and they ended up getting the DC. They get the DC one like, oh, well, who wants this? And Marvel's like, we'll take that. We'll take that shit right now.
Disney bought it themselves.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have a Justice League trailer coming out? That's weird. We have a Spider-Man trailer scheduled for the same day. Weird how that happened. Wow, I don't know, man. That's odd. So I love how kind of petty and like aggressive it is.
Right. We're just gonna one-up you, thank you.
So yeah, and this makes it even more distressing. I'm like, man, I hope so. I really do hope that it's just grandstanding on Sony's part, that they're like, oh, maybe we'll take Spider-Man away from the MCU because
well, if it makes money.
Because this has all the hallmarks of a good Marvel film. Like, you know, has the intercontinuity. It's building off of shit that happened before.
It's got a cameo.
Our villains don't come out of nowhere. They come from an understandable place from previous conflicts, creating new conflicts.
I don't know if Iron Man counts as a cameo because he's a part of the story.
He's basically part of it. I don't know how you'd count that. I guess it would depend on how much of the movie he's in. He looks like he's in a lot of it. I would count him as one of the main sub characters at least.
True. Well, then there's also the TV that had Captain America on it.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever meet him? I stole his shield.
It was awesome. He dropped an airplane on me, but it was weird. But I did get that shield for a minute. So yeah, I really do like that they're willing to just like, oh, Iron Man's gonna hang out for this movie too, okay? I'm like, can that happen more? And you know, Ragnarok, Hulk is gonna be hanging out with Thor.
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, that's cool. You have this whole cast of characters, have them hang with each other. That's awesome. Use those assets and pump up some, probably, because the Thor movies could probably use that, to be honest.
And Daryl, or whatever his name is, from
add
Australia.
Daryl in there, goddammit. Yeah, add in Daryl. I want to see Daryl's story. If they make Daryl a villain at one point, I would. Ooh, that would
fucking bear.
Wouldn't that be great if like one of the fucking Thor movies ends with like, man, there's this new villain and we don't know who he is. Like, why he seems to know the ins and out of Thor, how he ticks. Like he has all this inside info.
It plays like the end of Dark Worlds where Loki becomes the villain, except for he like turns around in his office chair and it's Daryl.
He's like, I know it's you, Loki, and he turns around like, no, Thor, it's your other extended family member, Daryl. How could you do this to me?
I got it. Through freak accident and sheer plot devices, he turns into the Red Hulk.
Yeah.
I
would love it if Daryl's Red Hulk, because I don't want General Ross back at all. But that would be great. Now that we're done pitching the next great Thor movie, anything else to say about Spider-Man before we take a small musical break and come back with the main subject?
I want to see it.
I want to see it too. I'm pretty jazzed about it, obviously.
Yep.
But with that, we're going to take a small music break. We'll be back with some Power Rangers Weird Talk right after this. And welcome back to the UGO podcast, more phenomenal edition. As we were talking about some Power Rangers shit today. You know what's weird is that my autocorrect actually did not recognize more phenomenal as a word. No,
surprising.
It actually went to metamorphosis, and like it gave me some other suggestions. Meteorology, I think, was one of the ones. It was like, you can't mean more phenomenal. It's not the 90s, Nick. Don't write this in me.
Don't do this to me. Please don't do this.
But yeah, I just wanted to go over some of the weirder monsters and plot points of the old Power Rangers show, because I read a couple of these articles on Screen Rant by Nicole D'Andrea. Let's see if I can find because there's a couple here. Jared Canfield and Andrew Lewis, and I'm going to be drawing from a lot of these articles here.
Was that a giant chicken?
Because yes, that was a giant chicken.
All right.
Because they in the past couple weeks they've been putting together these crazy lists of the weirdest things that have happened on Power Rangers, and it like sparked a lot of these memories that I had from watching the show. So I wanted to take a trip down memory lane with you guys. So should we start off with some of the weirdest fucking monsters of the series?
Sure.
All right.
This is just from the original series?
It's from a little bit cut around. Most of them are from the Mighty Morphin era.
Okay.
I get there's a couple.
So the era that I actually watched.
Yeah, there is. Most of them are from what we actually watched, because I watched up until In Space, because that's when they kept continuity, where every team passed the powers on to the previous team. And then after In Space, it was basically just a new set of powers and new sets of teams. And it really lost its continuity for me. But anyway,
nerd.
Yeah, they really lost it with Lost Galaxy, in my opinion. But at least it wasn't RPM. But
we will have to take a word on all of this, because frankly, it doesn't seem to sound like English anymore.
Or at least it wasn't Turbo. Ugh, they had cars.
¿Cómo estás, Nicolas?
Yeah, but let's start off with some of the villains, because they fought some weird fucking shit. Do you know they fought Frankenstein's monster?
Why? Who transformed Frankenstein's monster into a giant monster?
I'm pretty sure I remember that.
Yeah. Okay. So, and he, so during one of the Halloween episodes, I guess, they make a Frankenstein type monster, or Rita makes one, and he actually goes to a costume party, and people thinks he's just wearing a great costume, and he dances with the Frankenstein bride. So apparently he has the mind of the Frankenstein monster. I don't know how their monsters work, because they make them out of clay.
Right.
So like, what? So yeah, he interacts with the bullies, And they actually make him grow into Giant Frankenstein, which actually is the second time there's been a Giant Frankenstein.
Of course, why not?
Because there's an old kaiju movie of Frankenstein versus like young Frankenstein, where they actually reanimate Frankenstein's heart with radiation and it makes him grow big.
Sure.
Japan, you're weird.
As we're talking about the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
And he fights a giant gorilla creature that's not King Kong, but kind of looks like King Kong, and then he fights a giant octopus at the end. It is weird. You can find clips online. It's pretty fun. But yeah, there's also what's called the Brick Bully.
What am I looking at?
Now get this. They are working on a community center, I guess, and they're working on this housing project, and apparently they're cleaning up like this brick wall, and so Rita makes the brick wall come to life, and it's able to transform people into bricks.
What?
What the?
And he turns like half the Rangers into bricks, and but don't worry, because the Pink Ranger can free the Rangers by using pollution to erode the bricks.
What?
Through the power of science. So fuck you, Captain Planet. I guess pollution is a good thing.
I guess.
Which is weird, because I remember a bunch of episodes where the whole thing was about the environment, but here pollution saves the day.
I guess it takes all kinds.
Look at that thing. What is that?
That is
has an upside down face.
It's upside down face.
Yeah.
He's from the Upside Down. He's the creature, like the creature from the Upside Down's dumb cousin that comes over and just like, and then the creature is just like, oh crap, not Brick Bully again, fuck. But yeah, apparently also there's a giant bee.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Now get this. Now you know why they created a giant fucking bee? Is because Rita was spying on the Power Rangers, and Billy, the Blue Ranger, who's normally a straight A student, gets a B on an exam. Okay. And so to mess with his head with bee puns, Rita makes an entire bee monster.
That seems like a stretch. What?
So let me get this straight.
Well, the better question is, does it work?
No.
Okay.
I don't know. Like he's a giant bee.
Yeah.
And he beats them the first time they come around, but on the second time, Billy gets poisoned by the monster's poisonous venom, which incapacitates him. And the rest of the Rangers jump in, and he uses a sonic wave to deafen them. But the robot helper Alpha creates and teleports a weapon that Billy uses to glue Bumblebee's wings together. And then after that, Rita has the monster grow, unsticking his wings, I guess, because that's how growing works. And they take him down with a power sword and all that shit. So let me get this straight. Rita can spy on the Rangers whenever she wants.
With a giant telescope.
Knows who they are.
Yep.
And chooses to send monsters based off of ironic puns.
Mm-hmm.
I'm shocked that they were never able to defeat the Power Rangers.
Nick, are you trying to say that as a villain you wouldn't do the same thing?
Yeah. Oh, here's an interesting one.
What am I looking at?
Brat Boy. That's Brat Boy. Now, get a load of this. I don't know if there's any monster that doesn't have a fucking convoluted backstory, but okay, so this is actually an episode called The Attack of the 60-Foot Bulk. And in this episode, Master Vile, who is the new monster creator, uses a magical orb to reverse the rotation of the Earth and turn back time, Superman style.
Okay.
And it turns the Rangers and the other characters into children, including Bulk and Skull. And so Rita and Zed end up turning young Bulk into Brat Boy, the monster. You know, the bully, he actually gets turned into a monster?
Yeah.
So, and since the Rangers were children, the aliens Rangers of Aquitar, an ocean planet, had to step in and fight Brat Boy instead. But it doesn't stop there. Despite being called a brat, he seems to have the biggest heart of any of the monsters. He listens to the young Power Rangers who ask him to return to his normal form, so he does. So the monsters can choose to turn back into whatever they came from in the first place.
Okay, that's kind of fucked up.
But the bully from them, the douchebag, actually turns into a nice monster? Wait, what? So...
Hey, there's a difference between a petty bully and, a ruthless maniac.
Oh, and here's a good one. Okay. Get introduced to Babe Ruthless. A fucking giant gremlin centaur type creature with glove hands. And apparently it likes baseball.
Clearly.
So after Goldar gets tasked with destroying the Power Rangers, he has the brilliant idea of creating a monster called Babe Ruthless, who has a thing for baseballs and is sent to distract the Rangers. Yeah, I guess that's a thing that he did.
Indeed.
Because he thought that was a good idea. And as far as I know, it wasn't even the thing that the Power Rangers were doing. They weren't playing baseball. He just summoned a monster that had a thing for baseballs for no reason.
Cool.
Oh, yeah, here's a good one. Here's straight out of a kid's show. Cavity.
Besides the fact that it's, it's supposed to be a cavity, it actually kind of looks like a cosplay of a, Samurai Jack.
It could
like
be.
one of the monsters from there.
Yeah. One of Aku's reject robots.
Yeah, a little bit.
So yeah, this one's actually from Dino Charge. From the episode The Tooth Hurts. Oh my god.
All ones.
Oh, it's so good. So...
Season 22.
Season 22, episode 6, The Tooth Hurts. So, yeah, so commissioned by Posandra to create cakes she could sample for a wedding, she has him create a nasty cake, which he gleefully does, creating a masterpiece that causes painful tooth decay.
That's just a cake. He made a cake.
Yeah, so his left arm is an icing Piper bag, and his right arm is a big egg beater. Wow, how threatening. So...
It makes your teeth hurt. Ew.
And he goes down to the local cafe and hands out nefarious free samples. Yeah, they defeat the cavity without even using a toothbrush. Wow, that's subtle for a 90s show. Usually that's how you'd beat a cavity with general tooth care. Oh, this one's great. This one's fucking amazing. Look at what this... Okay, so this is the sea monster. And sea with S-E-E. Sea monster.
Yes, I got it.
Because of all the eyes, right?
Right.
Now, but that's not the weird part.
That's not the weird part.
Here's the weird part. The trench coat thing?
Yeah.
That's his skin. That's an outer folding of his skin. And that's not the weird part.
What?
You want to know what the weird part is?
Not really.
Is that his power is that when he opens up and flashes the Rangers and uses his eyes to induce, mind blasts with them, he fucks with their minds by flashing them. Yeah, that happened in the Mighty Morphin era. So when I was a kid, I probably watched this and rightfully repressed it.
My face is back to being stuck.
When did the Rangers, when they first see them, I'm like, I think I need an adult.
Yeah.
Aren't we all just adults playing kids? Yeah, but I need an actual adult.
I need another adult.
This is good. Polutocron. So
Poluticorn.
Poluticorn, that's right. So Poluticorn, because he's a unicorn that pollutes.
Right.
And has wings.
So he can beat up the brick wall dude.
Yes, he would be a great team up if they could convince him to fight the brick wall thing. So he can zap things with his horns, he shoots lightning from his eyes, blows gusts of winds from his wings, and but they were able to knock his horn off, which severely decreases his power for whatever reason.
Because he's a unicorn.
Yeah.
Where I draw my magic powers.
That's where all unicorns draw on their magic powers. So, here's one that's a giant tombstone.
I see somebody else's foot in there about to kick him.
Yeah, someone's about to get his ass. Doomstone. Now this one's...
Oh my god, wait, he's dabbing.
He is dabbing. Doomstone's totally dabbing. Look at that. My god, he was a trendy guy. I knew that about him, but apparently he was one. Now get this. This guy has the power to resurrect previous monsters.
Wow, that's incredibly
and send them against the Rangers. And he gets his ass kicked.
How?
I don't know. apparently the monsters he sends at them are weaker versions because the Rangers just beat the shit out of them and then come to Tombstone.
So ninja rules.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and then so like the only thing he ends up doing is trying to steal Tommy's morpher, and even that Billy just kicks him in the face and like he drops it. Like, hey, give that back. You stop it. Stop it. Because that's a legitimate power. I mean, he looks dumb, but like that's a high level power. Now, get this. Now, this next one's weird because I have to explain. Okay, so some of the monsters are made from putties, right? Mm-hmm. Well, there was this arc where Rita decided to make monsters out of everyday objects, and I think Zed did this too, that the Rangers might have had a connection with.
Okay.
For whatever reason. So she did it to like Kimberly's lipstick in order to make a lipstick monster. But the best one has got to be Purse Head.
Oh.
So this is Kimberly's purse that they decided to make a monster, even though I'm pretty sure that thing is so goddamn top heavy that it would not be effective in a goddamn fight in any way.
No.
Look at that. It's a purse monster. That
I don't even know what to say about that.
Okay. Obviously, what is this? Power Rangers Season 2, Episode 19? We're out of ideas.
Yeah.
And I know that they're using monsters from the Sentai. And so they have to make that, you know what, I have all the respect for the writers in the world because they have to make the weirdest things make sense in the context of the story.
Yep.
So the Sentai has a purse head monster. So can you imagine getting that on your desk, go like, oh yeah, this week we're having a purse head monster? Write a story around a purse head monster. Okay.
My question would be why?
Okay, a purse turns into a monster. Genius. See, that's why we hire you, Frank. My God, this is the easiest paycheck I've ever had. Yeah, so apparently it was pretty tough too.
Really?
Yeah, because
if it's leather, I guess.
So because they have to deal with because Lip Syncer, the lipstick monster, was also created in the same episode. So yeah. The purse head fights against the Rangers and then freezes them with a compact ray. With one of its, like a compact that would be inside the purse. So it uses the things inside the purse as weapons. Huh. So, and it freezes like half the Rangers, but then, they use a device that of course the Rangers always get. Like, they're like Batman with their anti-freeze devices and shit. So yeah, and they get wrapped up in magic dental floss that was also in the purse.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't know. It's odd that they didn't go with that monster for the movie. That they went with Goldar instead of this. I feel like that was a missed opportunity right there.
Yeah.
What was another one here? Okay, I wanted to say this one here too because there's a thing called Mr. Tickle Sneezer. Mr. Tickle Sneezer. Now. What? Can you guess what his power is?
He tickles you to make you sneeze?
Javis, you're a genius. Yeah, you're using that old noodle up there. I like it.
The episode's called For Whom the Bell Trolls.
For Who the Bell Trolls. So Trini has a collection of dolls, and the creepiest one is Mr. Tickle Sneezer, and is made into a monster by Rita because, of course, she's doing that now, apparently. And so he manages to trap Billy and Trini and several other objects like planes and trains, capturing them because he enjoys collecting things. Apparently, he's a big hoarder.
Okay.
And yeah, so he is ordered to capture the Rangers, and he collects them like he collects everything else. But he refuses when he wants to capture the other Rangers because he doesn't have a bottle to trap them in, and apparently he needs the bottle to trap him in because that's a thing. He's very specific about it. And yeah, so apparently he doesn't tickle and or make anyone sneeze in the episode. He's a collector. He's a big collector. That's this thing.
Okay.
What? Why is he called Mr. Is it because Trini called him Mr. Tickle Sneezer?
Must be.
But then that begs the question: what child called their doll Mr. Tickle Sneezer?
Maybe she just wanted to do whatever action she had currently done during that day.
Mr. Poopy Pants.
Mr. Poopy Pants. Okay, we gotta give that. Okay, now look at this monstrosity.
That's a turkey.
That is a turkey that, or the offspring of the sex between a turkey and the Death Star, I guess. I don't know what the fuck that is, but apparently it is a big cyborg turkey that Bulk and Skull made for a science project.
What?
So, of course, they call it the turkey jerk. But they can't bring it to life without Lord Zedd's help. So, he considers Bulk and Skull his parents, and he's trying to unmask the Power Rangers for them, because the Bulk and Skull were really obsessed about figuring out who the Power Rangers were.
Right, I remember that part.
So he has a blasting gun, no, he has a basting gun. I'm sorry, I read that wrong twice, because I couldn't fathom what was actually, I'm like, that's a typo. Nope, that's what it says. Mm-hmm. And cranberry grenades that he uses on the Rangers. But they don't even need to go into the Megazord. They just kill him with the power cannon thing. Here's a good one. This one is called the Pumpkin Wrapper. And not a wrapper, a pumpkin wrap. He uses tentacles and pumpkin bombs. Get that, he uses pumpkin bombs.
Cheater.
So I'm guessing, Green Goblin watched this and got inspiration from Power Rangers through his weapon design. And despite his epic rapping skills, Pumpkin Wrapper is destroyed by the Rangers and their power cannon.
Shocking.
But being one of Zedd's favorite monsters, because why wouldn't he be? Zedd resurrects him to become part of the Halloween Monster Assault, which includes Doomstone and Robo-Goat.
Robo-Goat?
Robo-Goat.
Why?
I don't know. And he makes them all grow, and that's when he actually gets his ass kicked by the Megazord. So, yeah, that was weird. And if you think that's like the only ones, like here's Robo-Goat himself. Like that's what Robo-Goat looks like. Yeah, so that's weird. And they had a bunch of crazy fucking monsters. They had a cabbie, a crazy monster cabbie that ran over people and buildings and shit. They have a karaoke monster that can make people sing karaoke or something.
Okay.
What the fuck? This one is weird. Like Amphibiter. This one, it looks super crazy. And the thing about it is that his thing in the episode is that he wants to eat the Rangers. And he describes actually taking bites out of them. He's really descriptive about it. And it's really, really weird. Like, look at him. He has 2 mouths. His chest is also a mouth that is eating his head.
He has a tongue coming out of his chest.
Who came up with this monster design? And look, he's got his navel. Like, what? He's an Audi, I guess. What crazy person drew this from their obvious drug-fueled nightmares? I don't understand. Mind altering drugs were used in creating that. I know that for sure. And look at this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reject. Shell Shock, who is a giant turtle that has a stop sign or has a stoplight attached to his back.
Why?
I'm thinking
red light, green light?
No, they didn't have enough budget for the actual episode. They went to go get fucking Toka's or one of Razor. I remember from Ninja Turtles 2, the turtle from Ninja Turtles 2 when he grew into a mutant. That's the same fucking costume. Look at him. So they went to got that, and then didn't want to get sued for copyright, so they strapped a fucking light post to his ass.
I guess.
So, and get this, so there's the traffic lights actually have powers, so they shoot blasts of energies that make the Rangers help us in different ways. The green light turns Rangers into marathon runners as they lose control of their bodies and involuntarily run in any direction. The red light freezes them in motion and makes them wait for Shell Shocker's number 1 weapon, a full-on head cannon, by drawing his head back into his shell, and a Panzer Shrek rocket launcher emerges and unloads on the Rangers.
So I was right about red light, green light.
Yeah, that's how I play.
Yeah.
I always play with a Panzer rocket launcher.
Why wouldn't you?
I
Any other mode is wimp mode.
So he also has brass knuckles and a random hook.
That's awesome.
And a baseball bat that he uses. I don't know.
Oh, that actually sounds like a really powerful villain then.
Now, yeah, because some of them has just some random crazy like ability. Like Unicron can shoot lasers out of his eyes, or whatever, or Unicorn. I keep calling him Unicron. So yeah, they have some crazy fucking weapons. Here's one for Kyle here. Guitardo.
I don't think you can say that on the internet.
Oh, sorry. You're right. That's offensive. I apologize to all my guitarded friends. It's completely unacceptable. It's a horrible disease where you can't stop playing that guitar in public. It's weird. But they can't fight Guitardo because I can't say his name. They fight the villain because
Guitardo. They
can't lay a fist on him because his music keeps them at arm's length, like any good true artist. In addition to giving them migraines, his strumming elevates the Rangers so they are unable to move and suspended in midair.
Okay.
So what I don't understand is if the monsters have these freeze abilities and these levitation abilities that make the Rangers like helpless,
why don't they just win?
How don't they just win immediately? Like that's a really high level power. Like I don't understand. Like that's the but yeah, the Pink Ranger. So the Rangers are powerless. But then Kimberly shows up with her musical power bow. Which she uses as a fucking harp, and he loses his mind because he's a solo act, I guess. I don't know. And then the makeshift harp plays counterattack chords that torture Guitardo. Wow. With show tunes out of the picture, Guitardo chooses the nuclear option and unloads a machine gun fire from his eyes.
What?
And I love the article is written here too, is that this makes you wonder why he didn't just open with that. Before the coup de grace, however, because Kimberly and Tommy launch the Dragon Dagger, also a musical weapon, and blow him up in smithereens. Cause I remember that where you summoned the Dragon Zord with that flute music or whatever. Yeah, and so there's also like a big oyster monster, but that's so passe. Like we've seen with so many other crazy stuff. There's of course the crazy pudgy pig. Now this is from episode 3. I had this VHS as a kid.
Did you?
And I watched this all the time. So get this. So they create a pig whose arms come from his mouth. Look at him. His arms are in his mouth. Because that's the only way for the person inside the costume to get arms in that crazy... It's all it is a head
of a pig
with legs, and he's wearing a Spartan helmet for whatever reason. I don't know. Because Spartans eat a lot, I guess? So, and his plan is to... Because the Rangers are working on a food drive, Rita's like, I guess fuck food because I hate everything the Power Rangers do. She decides to send the Pudgy Pig to eat all of the food in Angel Grove. And he even eats the shit out of trash cans and dumpsters. And Zordon comes to him and says like, oh yeah, if we don't stop him, he'll eat all of the world's food supply in a week.
What?
Yeah! So but on that note, hey, that's a villain plan that makes sense. Rita's plan actionably ends the world via famine. Hey! It's not a purse monster, I guess, but what could be?
Right. He's essentially a horseman of the apocalypse, so...
Yeah, so, I mean, out of all the monsters...
a pigman of the apocalypse,
Out of all the monsters we listed, he has an actionable plan to end the world.
I'll give him props.
So yeah, you gotta give him that. And he actually eats the Power Rangers' weapons. That they have to force him to throw up later.
Oh.
Yeah, and so he actually, thanks to his garbage breath, Pudgy Pig sucks the Power Rangers into a spinning vortex that sends them into a temporary black hole.
What?
Yep. Because all of them have to have some random ass power that doesn't even fit with like, okay, he eats stuff. I get it. Okay.
Yeah,
I get he's a pig. I get it. Wait, he can summon a vortex? Oh, what?
Yeah, Nick, he has a bottomless stomach.
Okay. And then here's this thing, which is called Chunky Chicken, and it's got this giant fucking scissors.
Cheers.
So, Shears, I guess. And yeah, so he also rips holes in time-space.
Oh.
So what is with the pork and the poultry having weird temporal powers? So apparently with his shears, he can rip holes into the time-space continuum in which the Rangers live. Of course, Chucky, so this one is obviously just like the weirdest coloring out of all of them. Like, look at that color design. That is weird looking. Why does he have
a chicken mixed with a cockatiel?
Why does he have a hat? I don't know why he has a hat. Like, I don't know why that's the weirdest thing to me, but it is. Like, that he has a hat. Does his head get cold? I don't know. But yeah, this is mixed in with some of the weirder plot lines they had. Like, one of Rita's plans to defeat the Rangers was to curse Tommy with eating all the time, so that he would be too busy eating to fight with the rest of the Rangers.
Okay.
And out of their logic, like, the Power Rangers only work as a team, so if they're missing one member, it'll be easy enough to destroy them. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Why wouldn't you curse them all with the eating thing?
Yeah.
That way none of them could figure out the eating thing, and that way they would all be busy, and then you can just destroy Angel Grove, or whatever it is that you want to do.
What is her end goal?
She wants to take over the world.
She's very bad at it.
No, she's horrible at it. It's really bad, but that's her thing. Yeah, also there's the stories that I know from watching that always sat well with me, but apparently there's this other one that apparently during one of the holiday specials, Zordon is concerned for Alpha, and because Alpha's a little bit down, so he decides to teleport children against their will into the fucking Sanctum Sanctorum of the Power Rangers to sing Christmas carols to Alpha 5.
Are they supposed to be the good guys?
So Zordon kidnaps children in order to sing carols for Alpha, the robot, because he's sad. What?
Sing, children. Sing.
But yeah, also, during one of the Wild Force seasons, they spent an episode where the Power Rangers watch the Power Rangers.
Meta.
They actually watched the Sentai version that they're based off of. The episode is called Lost in Translation. How meta is that?
That's super meta.
Yeah. I actually respect that. Mm-hmm. I respect that on a certain level. On that kind of mind-fucky blown thing, like, I actually kind of want to watch it, because what would that be like? Is that a show that, like, hey...
Well, the clip show from Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Yeah, where it's like they just watch, like, oh, is that what they think we are? That's weird. I think one of them even is like, why they think I was the girl of the team? Is it because I was yellow? Like, well, the Yellow Ranger in this one is a dude. Like, yeah, and apparently, you guys remember the big controversy over the William Yost of Billy the Blue Ranger. He apparently was, according to multiple sources, he was bullied for being gay on the set so much that he actually walked off on set multiple occasions, and they had to re-edit a lot of his scenes and stuff to replace him after he would walk off set. Apparently no one cared enough to, stop the harassment in order to keep him on set, but they would fix it in post. Because apparently no one cared much. So it wasn't all
colors and rainbows.
Sunshine and rainbow. Well, for anyone really. Apparently, in the early Power Rangers thing, the shooting schedule and the amount of pay, and it was really, really hard on a lot of the early actors that played the Power Rangers. Apparently, it was a really stressful shoot schedule, because they wanted to get like an episode out almost a day, I think, in the early days. So they were crazy working overtime, sometimes writing the script on the day they were shooting.
Yikes.
So yeah. And then, of course, I always want to bring up the wedding of Zed and Rita, because not only does this take up not one, not two, 3 episodes of the fucking series that we watch these two get married, plus they only get married because Zed hates Rita. The only reason that he is getting married to Rita is because she hypnotizes him at one point and convinces him that she's in love with her.
I remember that, actually.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid thinking, that's really fucked up.
Yeah, that is really fucked up. And the whole show plays that for laughs. And never, ever gives Zed his free will back. Ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, okay, what a weird message about consent that we're giving our kids. Because, okay, flip that around, and what if it was Rita that he hypnotized? Suddenly, I don't know if that would have made it past the censors, but because Zed's a dude, I guess it was totally okay. Well, you know what, not to be fair, it was early Power Rangers. They probably still would keep it standing even if it was a flip dude.
Yeah.
I'm giving them way too much credit.
Yeah, you are.
I'm giving them way too much credit on that point. So, yeah, that always stuck out to me as like, that is super fucked up. And also, it was also weird that Zed, the Lord of all evil, every time he would meet the Power Rangers, he would kick their ass. They never defeated him.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is that he was so proud, like, no, I shouldn't have to fight people. I'm the Lord of all creation. Other people should do this for me. So he could easily rule the world, but chooses not to because he does not feel like it's worthy for him to get his hands dirty.
Right.
So he would rather lose to teenagers on a weekly basis than to be active or proactive at all.
He's got his pride, man.
Because he's royalty and they don't do that. So yeah, what an odd series of events that was. But yeah, that was pretty much the only thing I wanted to cover. The only last thing I wanted to cover was that they have straight up child soldiers. And what I mean by that is that all the Rangers are supposed to be teenagers, right? But then at one point they enlist a fucking 12-year-old in the Turbo series that I was mentioning before. And yeah, don't do that.
Does he have a gun?
He has a gun, because all the Rangers had guns, because they had guns that turned into sword. They were fucking rad. I had the toy as a kid where you could switch it into a blade, and then it turned into a gun and it made sound. It was super awesome. But you shouldn't give an actual gun to a kid, because that's weird. Like, you can give the toy gun to me, because I was fine, because I was a super violent kid, and I wanted to watch, because I wanted to shoot monsters or whatever. But they gave this 12-year-old fucking superpowers, multiple weapons, a giant fucking robot that he had to pilot, and thought like, yeah, that seems fine. Cool. That's fine. Alright. I'm like, no! You guys are constantly getting into danger and almost dying. You're constantly getting turned into bricks or whatever. Like, how you would explain to that kid's mom, like, I'm sorry, Timmy, he turned into a brick. I'm sorry, what? Oh yeah, I should have told you, he was also on our super secret superhero team, the Power Rangers, where we fight a bunch of monsters constantly. You probably see them destroying Angel Grove on a regular basis. Yeah, we fight those. We enlisted your son in order to fight these creatures, and he ended up turning into a brick. So we're super sorry about that.
It's alright, now he's just another brick in the wall.
Do you have any pollution around at all? The Power Rangers are so sued. They are so sued for child endangerment, because that is ridiculous. Also, they crossed over with the Power Rangers.
Ninja Turtles.
They crossed over, they crossed over with the Ninja Turtles.
The Power Rangers.
The next mutation. There were crossovers between seasons, which were always cool, where the previous teams would meet up and fight. They would meet up and fight together. But this one had both, where the bad guys of the Lost Galaxy Power Rangers were actually went to New York and grabbed the fucking Ninja Turtles and used them as bad guys and hypnotized them to fight, to earn the Rangers' trust, and then turn on them later.
Weird.
Yep. And it was all a big commercial for the Next Mutation series that did not work because that show only got one season. And you know what else was weird about it? Is that the Ninja Turtles were like, oh man, I can't believe the Power Rangers are real. What? They're on TV all the time. Like, you're in a city where they have giant monsters. No! They should be weird that you're real. You're the ones that live in a sewer and are like these supposed ninjas that operate at night. How do you not know that we didn't think the Power Rangers were real? What did you think? It was a big conspiracy over the news? Like, that giant kaiju thing, that's probably know?
It's a good question.
But I could argue Power Rangers continuity all day.
I'd rather you're not.
Yeah, one of the Power Rangers gets blackmailed at one point too.
Weird.
Yep. His secret identity gets found out, and in order to keep his secret identity, he has to do whatever this person says. Otherwise, he'll reveal his identity as a Power Ranger.
Pretty traditional 90s skit.
Yeah. Except that it's a little girl. Yeah. So he has to do stuff for her, like play with her and do all this other crap. And I'm like, what a weird concept. Like, that's actually a legit concept. Like, what would you do if someone, like, I can reveal to the world that you're a Power Ranger? And then I'd just be like, go ahead. I'm a Power Ranger. Like, my worst enemies know who I am.
Right.
They already do.
Plus, if she's a little girl, she's like, yeah, right. I mean, what are they going to believe you?
And plus, I'm a Power Ranger. I could just kick your ass. So don't do it. Or I'm going to kick your ass with power that I range, apparently.
And the Zord.
Yep. Now, I do like the fact that they try and fit the storyline so much to the original Sentai. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of cases where the original Sentai, like the Green Ranger, dies in the original Sentai, which is why they have to keep Tommy as a backup character through a lot of it, and then they have to replace him with a White Ranger, which is actually a Ranger from the next series, and that Ranger is also a little kid. Like in the Sentai footage, they have to edit out the points where he's jumping around going, yeah, and squealing like a kid, because he's supposed to be the badass Tommy Oliver leader. And I was so weird. I found that super hilarious, and I'm like, that's funny. Unless, I guess the American version, like, knew, like, yeah, we can't make a kid a ranger. That'd be weird. Until later, where they totally don't learn that lesson. So yeah, I like that. It was a fun romp down memory lane for me to go down these articles. So thank you again, writers on Screen Rant. That was fun.
That was traumatizing.
It was traumatizing, and but in the best way.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. All the repressed memories of the sea monster. Don't flash me anymore. Don't flash me, bro.
Honestly, that is the part that stuck me the most, was the brainwashing of Zed. I do remember that very strictly.
I remember that vividly.
Yes,
because
like,
it was... Yeah.
No, that's not right, guys.
That was weird.
Even as like a really small children, weird. I was like, nope.
Yep. But with that, I think we can bring this episode to a close, because obviously it was.
Well, actually, we're just gonna go watch Power Rangers.
Yeah,
now.
we gotta go watch Power Rangers now. I gotta see if they put Pursehead in it.
Yeah,
if he's a background character, you don't know.
He shows up behind Goldar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was originally a recruit of Goldar. Goldar's in it. You don't know. It could happen.
Act 2 twist.
Act 2 twist. Maybe that's why people didn't like that last act. That Pursehead's in it. Like maybe that was too weird for him. Or at least I hope not. It wasn't Sea Monster. Could you imagine that in that dark, gritty reboot of a Flasher dude?
No.
Oh, but we've go-goed enough for today. So until our next
get out of here.
Until our Inspector Gadget episode, I think we've go-goed enough, because we'll have to do that at some point. But with that, if you have enjoyed this episode and want to listen to our previous content, you could do so on any of our back catalog on our webpage, unapologeticgeekout.com. You can listen to us on iTunes. We're up on there. Give us a review. If you write a 5-star review, we will read whatever goes in that review box on the air, word for word. So if you have some horrible creature monster that you would like to pitch to us in one of those reviews, I would hear it. Mm-hmm. I'd like it. I'm down with it. We're also available on Stitcher, or you can go over to our Facebook page, maybe give us a like while you're there, while you're in the Facebook neighborhood. Also, you can follow us on Twitter at UGO Podcast, or Instagram. That's the same thing. And with that, guys, I'm all out of the morphin. I need a recharge on the morphin grid. Mm-hmm. And that's what that thing is, right?
Sure.
Yeah, let's just call our Power Zords and get the fuck out of here, because we're on Unapologetic Geek Out, and we're out.